Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brittany Button, and I am a long-term care insurance specialist at Art Jetter and Company. Thank you for joining us on this highly anticipated presentation from Lincoln Financial Group. Now, we know there is a need for long-term care preparation in retirement planning. So today, we will be reviewing research about what advisors and clients are thinking when it comes to long-term care, the growing need for planning, and how to frame the conversation. Joining us today is Rob Johnson, Regional Sales Manager for Lincoln Financial Group. However, before I turn it over to Rob, I just want to mention that if you have any questions throughout the presentation, you may type them into the chat box on your screen. All questions will be answered at the end of our presentation. Also, we have included a handout that you can download regarding this topic, so make sure to save a copy. Without further delay, Rob, I'll let you take it over.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Brittany. I appreciate the opportunity to partner with you guys. With a combined 70 years in this long-term care space, Art Jetter and Lincoln are leaders in this space, whether it's hybrid or traditional long-term care. I want to start off by just setting the stage because we got some exciting things happening at Lincoln. One, just this past August, we celebrated our 30th year in the hybrid long-term care market, which makes us the longest carrier of anyone in this space. Second thing that just happened is last month we repriced our flagship product, Lincoln MoneyGuard. In about 80% of all planning scenarios, our premiums actually went down. So it's an exciting time. Again, with over a 50% market share in the true hybrid space, with this price change, we look to even increase that share of the business out there, and we're excited to have a partner like Art Jetter and the team there. So, as Brittany mentioned, we're going to keep this to about 15-20 minutes. We're going to review what advisors and clients are thinking. We commissioned a study in late 2017 about long-term care. I'm going to go over that. The growing need for long-term care, how to frame that conversation, and finally, how to incorporate that into your practice. So as I mentioned, we commissioned a company called Versta Research, which is a third-party research firm back in late 2017, and we did two surveys. One, we surveyed 1,000 consumers, and the second part of that, we surveyed 500 financial advisors on the topic of long-term care attitudes, experiences, and planning. So first, we'll begin our discussion by looking at the facts regarding what advisors and clients are thinking and what we learned from that study. While many pre-retirees who out there were surveyed felt it was important to plan for long-term care expenses, only half had started doing so. And what's even more startling is that only 14% had actually talked to an advisor about how they would pay for long-term care. And we found that only 13% had talked to an advisor about who would provide care. The reality is that for many clients are assuming that their advisor should be taking the lead and providing guidance they need to help protect themselves and their families from long-term care expenses. Two things. According to our survey, the emotional benefit of having a plan with financial protection in place gives clients peace of mind. 98% of those who engage in long-term care planning feel more confident about their financial future, and 96% claim to have more peace of mind. So the who, when, and how about long-term care planning. The who, everyone needs a plan. A recent survey of advisors revealed that nearly all, or 95%, agreed that their clients should consider long-term care as part of their retirement plan. When to plan, and I get this question all the time. It varies with the individual, but one rule of thumb is around age 50. This is when the client typically feels most confident about reaching their retirement income goals typically is maybe a little bit healthier, and we found this is a good time to start that process. The unfortunate reality is that 94% of advisors agree people wait too long before discussing plans and options. So how to plan? And how do clients feel about discussing LTC with an advisor? Nearly 8 in 10 of those surveyed agree that there's value in making it part of their overall financial plan. So why is long-term care often overlooked? And it's for a variety of reasons. The first, people perceive it as either it's too depressing, it's a low priority, and they're not sure if their clients need or even want it. On the other hand, clients reveal to us that it was they often overlooked it because it was outside of the scope of what they do. This is what advisors relayed to us. They thought it was too difficult and too time-consuming and maybe had no time for it. You, as the advisor, need to make long-term care planning a priority for your clients. Let them know that it's an integral part of their retirement plan. So some clients may think that they don't have a plan, so educational advice about long-term care, because some of the common misconceptions are about risk. One, the first one, it's not going to happen to me. People tend to downplay their own personal risk, but Americans are living longer, and as a result, more are confronted with chronic conditions associated with aging. These conditions can precipitate the need for long-term care. In fact, when we looked at that survey, only 33% thought they would need care at some point. Only 40% thought their spouses would need care, and only 50% assumed that their parent would need care. The reality is that the actual risk is much higher. So when we talk about these misconceptions, the second is Medicare and Medicaid have me covered. Yeah, if qualified, Medicare will cover a portion of skilled nursing costs up to 100 days, and Medicaid is only available to those with limited assets or income. Another common misconception is that's what my savings are for. Many individuals significantly underestimate the cost of long-term care, believing that the average cost of a private nursing home room is about $54,000, which is roughly half of the true cost. Unfortunately, financial professionals project that the client who experienced an unplanned care event will spend their savings 2 to 3 times faster than anticipated. Some may also think my family will be able to take care of me. And the reality is that the burden of caregiving usually falls on the women in the family. Daughters who care for ill parents are twice as likely as non-caregivers to experience depression or anxiety. Let me say that again. Daughters who care for ill parents are twice as likely as non-caregivers to experience depression or anxiety. And the overall cost to a female caregiver is estimated to be about $250,000 due to lost wages and diminished working hours. As Americans, we're living longer, the need for long-term care continues to grow. So many advisors see that the last years of retirement are the riskiest. Almost half of those surveyed, about 46%, identified the last 10 years of a 30-year retirement as being the period of the high risk to clients spending their assets too quickly. Based on their estimates, the average withdrawal rate among clients taking retirement income from an investment portfolio is about 5%. When clients need long-term care and have no financial protection in place, that withdrawal rate is estimated to increase to 13%. But what raises concern is that the financial professionals frequently underestimated the average cost of long-term care services. For example, advisors who were surveyed estimated the cost of an average private room around $75,000, and that's roughly 75% of the actual costs out there. So keep in mind that long-term care isn't an individual situation. This impacts families. Spouses may find it more difficult, may face a more difficult retirement due to rapid asset depletion. Adult children may have to make financial sacrifices or give up personal time to provide assistance. This could obviously impact their jobs and their family life. And grandchildren may have to forgo legacy assets earmarked for tuition, or that they may have contributed to a better life for them. And 60% of advisors who often see families devastated by the cost of long-term care. While our survey that we commissioned revealed that advisors are focused on the financial risks associated with long-term care, clients are more concerned about becoming a burden to their family, to their children, and then they are worried about running out of money. So again, that burden of that concern about being a burden on their family is a much bigger concern for families than running out of money. So what is the framework of the long-term care conversation? The key takeaway here is how to structure your clients' discussions so that they can become an integral part of your holistic planning process. So starting conversations to open up planning opportunities. We want to initiate that long-term care conversation. We want to start the process earlier than retirement. Make long-term care an aspect of retirement planning, and encourage your clients to start talking about it at home. So here's that conversation. We can help your clients by providing a framework for that conversation. You want them to think about the important aspects of their plans, including 1, how are they going to pay for long-term care? And these are easy questions that are open-ended that you can ask. Where do they want to receive care? At home, in a professional setting? What are their care preferences? You know, one of the biggest concerns that clients have about long-term care is the quality of care that they'll receive. And 65% of the people we surveyed stated that they wanted to stay at home and get professional care. It's important to also ask about the plans for their assets. Do they want to create a legacy, or do they want to spend down their savings? What are their plans? So these are 4 easy questions that we can ask just to get that conversation started. Secondly, here's what we can also ask. Ask your clients, do they know the cost of care in their area? If they would rather self-insure, which assets would they sell first? If they would need care, what is their family prepared to do? Will their loved ones help pay for care or even be able to provide it? And are their family members aware of their expectations? These 5 questions are easy questions to ask, but hopefully will open up conversations between you and your clients to just start thinking about it. Maybe they haven't thought about it. Maybe they're at an age where their loved one, their parents, are starting to need care, or maybe they haven't even thought about it yet. But these questions can get your clients thinking. So a couple resources for you to discuss the important aspects of their plan. We have a couple resources for you. When we're thinking about long-term care, and we mentioned that clients underestimated the cost by about 50%, advisors were only about 75% accurate on the cost in the area. I encourage you to go to this website. It's whatcarecosts.com/Lincoln. The sponsor code is Lincoln. On this website, you're going to be able to look at the cost of nursing home, assisted living, home care in every major geographical area across the country, and also look at it statewide. So if you have clients that are saying, hey, we're thinking about retiring in Florida or Arizona or somewhere else, you can look and see what the costs are in that area when you're doing this long-term care planning. We want to get their thoughts about caregiving, encourage them to discuss it with their loved ones. Every November is Long-Term Care Awareness Month, because the industry knows that that's often a time where families are together, and it's important to have these types of conversations. Health-related and financial decisions, we want to make sure that they understand who will have access and authority to take charge. Make sure their family members are aware of this. And also make sure where they're discussing the legal matters, every client should have a living will, a current will, a durable power of attorney, and a power of attorney for health care. So how do we implement this into your practice? Even for clients who can afford to self-insure, long-term care planning is advantageous because clients can gain financial leverage with the solutions that enable them to get more value for their long-term care. Obviously, Lincoln MoneyGuard being one of those solutions to add greater leverage. And when they plan earlier, the leverage is greater. One of the most effective ways to start the long-term care conversation is by asking the client if they've had a personal experience. Do they know anyone that needed care? Do they know anyone that's become a caregiver? Are they helping to provide long-term care for a loved one? Again, these are three easy questions that we can be asking in those annual reviews or with your regularly, quarterly meetings with your clients. We found that clients become more interested in planning when they have a personal experience. So starting by asking these three questions, that certainly can help start that conversation. Other triggers that prompt clients to be interested in conversations about long-term care are often reaching a certain age, advice from family member or friends, maybe reaching a certain income level to afford it, advice from advisors, that's where you guys all come in, guys and gals come in, retirement, and often sometimes having a long-term care insurance offered as an employee benefit. Advice from advisors being the key one here. That's your role when we're doing long-term care planning, and part of your fiduciary responsibility to at least bring it up, get those questions asked when you're having a meeting with your clients to at least start the conversation. When you've incorporated long-term care planning as part of your client's holistic planning strategy, you're going to find that, one, it can enhance client loyalty and retention, open up multi-generational planning opportunities. You can also explore other opportunities focused on women. In fact, 75% of our claims last year were for women. And I'll even throw this out right now. We actually have, and my friends at Art Jetter we have a long-term care planning kit focused on women. So if you're looking for a white paper, you'd like to do a presentation, or looking for brochures or anything, they have that complete planning kit there for you. Certainly, it can open up opportunities for the LGBT market, family caregivers, and spouses with maybe a 10 or more year age difference, since younger spouses may face increased risk of being caregivers. Lincoln and Art Jetter have a wealth of resources for you. Between the two, with the 70 years of experience and the pieces that we have, we have just about anything you could ever need to help start that conversation, to share with your clients if you're going to do an annual review. One of the things we have, and it's attached to this presentation, is a long-term care conversation workbook. It has a number of the same statistics we talked about during today's conversation, and you can use it as a vehicle to kind of open up that discussion. The last page of it actually has a questionnaire that can be completed prior to your client meeting. So a lot of those questions we talked about today, if they're filling it out ahead of time, if you say, hey, we're gonna discuss long-term care, I'm gonna send you this piece. If you can complete it prior to our meeting, that could help us with the direction of our meeting. So know that Jetter, my friends Brittany and Matt at Jetter, have all the tools that you need. If they need something additional, they can reach out to myself and my internal here at Lincoln. And I appreciate your time today. Brittany, I want to open it up for questions.
Well, Rob, this group kept it pretty easy on us. We did have one question come in asking, and we get this every time. They're asking about the slides. And so, yes, Rob will be providing me with a copy of today's presentation. So if you would like a copy of this presentation, simply let me know. We'll get that on over to you. And it looks like we don't have any other questions, Rob. So I want to say thank you for presenting for us today. And of course, thank you to everyone for joining us. We encourage all of you to start thinking about people you need to start the long-term care planning conversation with. So our team is standing by if you have further questions. Of course, if you're not working with Lincoln Financial yet, simply go to our website, jetter.com, to get appointed. Again, if you'd like illustrations, marketing materials, or additional training, feel free to reach me at 800-228-0008. So again, thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.